Well, when is a pub not just a pub?
When, Becca? Do tell me.
Well, it's when it's prompted by the impact of the pandemic. A pub landlord has decided to give back to the community and turn his hospitality into a centre to help the unemployed. Joining us now is our North West of England reporter, Bradley Harris. Oh, in a pub garden, I see.
I'm very jealous of that. Have you had anything to drink, Bradley?
We'll soon find out.
Not yet. But let me tell you, those pints are going to be on the way. But no, nothing at the moment. I'm in the pub garden and look at that. The sun is just coming out. It's honestly such a nice day here in Ramsbottom in Bury. I'm in the pub garden. I've moved away from the bar because this is just another one of the projects that this pub has taken upon themselves. Like I keep saying, this place is more than a pub. The Eagle and Child here in Ramsbottom, they've been doing all sorts to help the community here, delivering 2,500 meals to communities throughout the pandemic. They've also been helping vulnerable people and also disadvantaged people of all abilities back into work, which has just been a lifeline for some people. We heard about those people earlier on. And of course, we've been talking about food and how actually you can make really hearty meals just out of a couple of quid. We saw just a couple of tins of carrots and peas can turn that into a beautiful corned beef hash. I'll tell you, in a couple of moments' time, Glen is on the way. You'll see the results of that in a moment. But for now, I just want to talk to Richard. Richard, in fact, perfect timing. He's literally on the way with now. Glen, I mean, come on, you're live on GB News. Come and take a seat here. You just bring it. So, OK, right, before we get on to your Growing Resilience project then, can we just have a little look inside? Show the viewers, will you? Come on, Glen. Look at this. Oh my gosh, can I just tilt it, Glen? Oh, that's actually quite hot. There we are. Bring it. Look at that. This, guys, is one of my favourite meals, right? Okay, it's a corned beef hash. We've got potatoes, peas. I mean, Glen, you have put your heart, sweat and tears into this, haven't you?
Well, this is exactly what I make, just to prove how quick and easy this is to make.
Take a seat.
Just out of the, out of the tin for people.
So he's literally serving it now. And the point of this, Glen, was that you were trying to show our viewers today that you can make really hearty meals out of a couple of quid using tins, things at the back of the cupboard, but also, quite importantly, if you're reliant on a food bank.
Yeah, and I mean, just to explain, I've made this massive pan of food here. I did say 4 meals, but it's 5 meals, probably about 8, for about 3 quid. Or people, obviously, if they are struggling and they can go to a food bank or a food cooperative, then they can get things like this really cheap. So what I didn't mention as well earlier is one of the great things about using tinned or frozen vegetables is that actually they go straight to the manufacturer when they're fresh. So people have this misconception that when they're eating fresh vegetables from the supermarket, they've got all the nutrients, they've got more nutrients in them than frozen or tin food. Well, that's complete rubbish. Often that fruit and veg that you see in a supermarket maybe it's been shipped from somewhere else in Europe, and it could be 5-6 weeks old because they keep them in big warehouses and then they bring them out and then it's sitting in the supermarket for 2 weeks. So all the nutrients have gone out of it. Whereas if you're using tinned or frozen food, straight to the manufacturer, packaged, frozen, tinned, whatever, straight away. So there's far more nutrients in them.
I mean, this really goes to show what you can do with a few basic ingredients. Glen, I just want to show off your work. Lift the pan up and just show it to the camera. Bring it a bit closer, Glen. Honestly, I'm going to just bring the camera. Look at that. I mean, just seriously, it looks like it looks like a lot of things matched up. But let me just get a fork. But that's what corned beef hash is, guys. Okay, it's a staple dish in the Northwest. And you know what? You are a chef, Glen. So if you don't mind,
well, I'm actually a cook. I mean, but, I would say I'm a good home cook. I don't do the chefing because that is more of a professional job. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite complex cooking. I mean, I've got guys in there that have trained for years, and to bang out the food that they do at the consistency and standard that we do, for the numbers that we do, is quite complex. So, but yeah, I mean, I learnt to cook with my grandma when I was a kid, so I'm very good at cooking. But cooking in the way that we do here, I need a good team of chefs to do that, so I can manage the business.
Well, you say you're a good cook. I'll be the judge of that. All right, here we go. So I'm going to add some of this homemade brown sauce. Let me just show you this as well, guys. Homemade brown sauce right there. I'm just going to add a bit of that because actually, with the corned beef hash, it is something that you've just got to do, and I'm getting 2 massive splodges in there. I'm going to mix that up. Honestly, guys, seriously, if you've not had this, you're missing out. Are you a good cook? Well, let's be the judge of that. Oh, God, that is... No, I'm joking. It's really... That is actually, dare I say it, better than my mum's. I hope you're not watching, Mum, but that's actually really, really, really good. And do you know what? Even though it has come from a tin, it is still fresh. It still tastes great. And that's the beauty of this. You can make a really good meal out of something that just costs a couple of quid. Talk to me, though, about this place and the garden that we're in, because, of course, you've got an allotment over there, you've got a greenhouse. Growing Resilience is one of your other projects. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Richard and I set up Growing Resilience during the lockdown, and the idea behind it was to support people with mental health issues, because we've got a bit of a mental health crisis now following COVID, and because people were so isolated, we started to develop a programme that looks at wellbeing, but gets people considering all aspects of wellbeing by being active and volunteering in the community, getting involved in projects to grow their own food, getting involved in projects like cooking and eating together, so that they're learning skills which will help them maybe to get involved in work if they're out of work, help them to socialise with other people, and helping to feel good about being able to put something back themselves back to the local community. So as well as actually doing practical stuff like the gardening and the cooking, we have a full programme of, let's say, I suppose more like classroom delivery type stuff, but we do it in a very informal way, where we all sorts of issues that will affect people's day-to-day lives, the day-to-day mental health, including, you know, stuff like conflict and conflict being inevitable in people's lives, what happens when chaos hits, you know, how you can make yourself resilient, 5 ways to well-being. So a whole host of different kind of coping strategies to help people just get through the day-to-day life.
And do you know, that is actually really important what you say there, and also the connection between things like gardening. I find, you know, you saw the uptake in people gardening during lockdown, but there is a connection in that, Richard, isn't there? And people, I mean, I saw you with I'd say it's a shovel. I don't know my gardening terminology, but you were bending down a little bit earlier. That does help with people's mental health.
It certainly does. I mean, one of the projects that we run here in this pub garden as well is a Growing Resilience project, where we called it Men's Shed, and it's in conjunction with some other groups in Ramsbottom. And just simply getting people to engage. They may be isolated, they may have been recently widowed or whatever, to get people coming along and just, first of all, pottering about, being active in a garden, enjoying the garden for one thing, but then also making new friendships with people just while they're pottering around. You know, and that's one of the kind of simple things in life. Once you've started to isolate, whatever they might watch, you're not doing much for your kind of engagement with the world and with your life, are you?
I just find it interesting again, and also amazing that, take a look at some of the pictures. I mean, if we could show them now, this place was derelict. It was boarded up. None of this furniture was here. It didn't look like this at all. You've got some fantastic bits of flower display here. Like I say, you've got the greenhouse, you've got the allotment. Just incredible. Did you ever envisage that you would have a setup like this? Was this always the intention?
Yeah, it was always the intention. I mean, I knew it'd take a lot of hard work and there was a lot of risk involved. But I think if you set your mind to something positive, you know, it's certainly something, you know, you can achieve a positive result. You know, and having that kind of focus around sustainability, working within the local community, supporting local suppliers, you know, growing our own. These are all very important things. You know, people hark on about climate change and global warming, etc. But if people made, you know, and there's all this kind of political agenda around that, but actually what people need to do is they need to do more of this. Businesses, small businesses, need to start doing things like growing their own food. You know, people need to start growing their own food in the gardens, and if they mean, you know, what they say around protecting the environment, it's making small changes within your community that are going to have the most significant impact. So this is certainly something that I try to do through education, through showing people how easy it is to, you know, to take small steps to support the local community and the local economy.
Yeah, and can I just ask you, because you have, again, just a brilliant setup, loads of flower displays, loads of wildlife, as we can see, pottering around. Wasps, yeah, exactly. But what, just for those who might be watching, who might be thinking, do you know what? I want to give it a go. I want to try and get out and do a bit of gardening, try and get outside a bit more as we're starting to come out of lockdown. What simple things can people do if they've got a small space? Maybe they don't and they have an allotment, something like that. What can people do to kind of get outside and get a bit green-fingered?
Well, I mean, I'd say, you know, you feel really good when you do volunteering and helping out in the community. So, you know, there's the Council for Voluntary Service, which every local authority has, so people can look up their local Council for Voluntary Service. And if they give them a call or go on the website, they'll be able to find out about community projects that they can get involved in. These can be anything from helping out with sort of local litter picks, you know, helping to maintain the local parks or local green spaces if, you know, people want to be outside. But there's all sorts of community projects out there where people might do shopping for older people, read to older people, you know, help with, you know, clubs in schools. There's, you know, the more that people can actually put back into the local community, just given an hour or two a week, the better they'll feel, and actually this will help with the recovery from the crisis that we've been in.
Yeah, well, look, incredible work that you're both doing. And I've been waiting for this meal literally for hours, guys, and I finally got it. I've managed to get 2 mouthfuls in, and I'm going to finish it off. So do you know what? I would talk a bit longer, but do you know what? I want to finish off the food. Incredible work that you're doing. And by the way, 10 out of 10 for the corned beef hash. Becca, Tom, if you've never had it, you've got to come and try it.
Well, that does look delicious, and I absolutely endorse that message of local businesses coming together and providing services for people, but also contributing towards our protecting of the environment. Really, really good message there. Thank you, Bradley, for bringing that to us.